Hey everybody, and Tony here with a double feature opera review. The first one being Puccini's La Bohème, which was shown at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, and the second one being Mozart's Don Giovanni, which was shown at the Staatsoper im Stille Theater. So let's start off with the former. The conductor was Andrea Battistoni. The production was done by the late, great Götz Friedrich. The directors were Gerlinde Pelkowski and Knut Sommer. The set design and costumes were handled by Peter Sikora. The lights were handled by Stephen Watson. The chorus master was Thomas Richter. And the children's chorus master was Christian Lindhorst. Now, like I said before in my review of La Bohème shown at the Royal Opera House, this opera needs no introductions whatsoever. It's been very popular. It started out the whole Verismo wave, and it has pretty much put Verismo opera on the map, especially when it came to its story, what the characters stood for, and most importantly, the musical numbers. And also, it was also adapted into a Broadway musical known as Rent, which also had the same acclaim and love that its ancestor had. Not to mention, this opera has had the reputation for being the most popular and even the most performed opera ever. And it doesn't really matter what season, whether it's performed on Christmas or performed after Christmas or before Christmas. It's still a very, very important opera that a lot of people go back to every single time. And not to mention, they have such an affinity for the characters of what they stand for, and their hearts really go out for them, especially the main lovers. With that said, let's get on to what I thought about the production, the singers, and the conducting and chorus. Now, the production of this particular La Bohème, what more can I say about it? It's wonderful. It really shows me that a gentleman like the late, great Götz Friedrich always had an eye for authenticity. He had an eye for what the clothes and what the feeling was like during 1800s Paris, France. And you could really tell that everything about this production was just so amazing. There was a lot of color. There was a lot of authenticity. There was a lot of life. It's like I stepped into a time machine and found myself like somewhere in the 1800s France. And that was just how awesome everything was. The costumes were equally as colorful, gorgeous, and just so riveting. In short, the production absolutely needs no introduction whatsoever. It's riveting, it's gorgeous, it's just so colorful, and it just bursts with life and vibrance. And now we get to the singers, and I'm extremely excited to talk about all the singers here because, well, they all did a great job, but let's find out why. Starting with our leading man, Rodolfo, sung by the very fabulous, very handsome tenor, Teodor Ilincai. Now, Rodolfo, like I said, this part is the most coveted part for any lyric tenor. Well, mostly in the Italianate repertoire or the bel canto repertoire. Lots of tenors flocked to sing this iconic Puccini character and had very great successes, those being Nicolai Gedda, Alfredo Kraus, Luciano Pavarotti, and many, many others that I could barely name off the top of my head. Now, there is no doubt that I absolutely adore Teodor Ilincai since I first saw him, like, I would say 6 months ago, with him performing Faust from, of course, Gounod's Faust. What more can be said about Teodor Ilincai? In terms of physicality and theatricality, my heart just totally melts for the guy. I go head over heels. I am totally enamored, totally immersed, and I am just so I just have my heart going out for him because he is totally handsome, totally in his character, and he has one of the most finest voices, finest lyric tenor voices I've ever heard. Is it really something for me to say that I kind of have a huge crush on this tenor? Because everything about him is just so perfect and so ideal. His Hollywood leading man style physique, his features, his manner, his acting, his style, his ease, his vibrancy, his charm, his overall masculinity, and overall youthfulness makes this Rodolfo in particular come alive. And if I were to say who could be any Rodolfo of choice, then I'd say this guy is your man. He has not only the looks, but also the voice in which he uses very well. When he sings all those notes, when he sings all those passages, I feel totally immersed. Every tone he sings is just like a huge wave of sound, full of gold, full of silver, and it's just so exciting to listen to. He is totally immersed with this character, and he totally personified Rodolfo very well. I found no faults in his performance whatsoever, and he was just excellent. What more can be said about Maestro Teodor Ilincai that hasn't been said already? And like I said, he's totally handsome, and I kind of have a huge crush on him. Like I said, it's so hard to keep your eyes off this tenor. Definitely hard to keep your eyes off of him. He's got the charm, he's got the voice, he's got everything that makes a Rodolfo great. Singing the role of one of his best friends for life, Marcello, is none other than the grand German dramatic baritone Markus Brück. Now, Marcello is also yet another iconic Puccini baritone role, and it calls for a dramatic baritone with lyrical qualities or a lyric baritone with dramatic qualities. Either way, any voice would really work great for this wonderful baritone character. And with Markus Brück, what more can I say about this gentleman? He's excellent in whatever he does. He is just fabulous at what he's doing. He's able to make Marcello a very, at times, roguish, but very well-meaning and very warm-hearted fellow, and even a very great friend to Rodolfo, and even to Schaunau and Colline. He is absolutely immersed with his character, and he's just so much fun to watch from beginning to end, especially with his chemistry with Alexandra Hutton as Musetta is absolutely a lot of fun. And then singing the role of Schaunau, the musician, is none other than Noel Bouley, who has a very fabulous technique, a very fabulous and very commanding stage presence, and really works well off of his colleagues. Singing the role of the philosopher Colline is none other than the grand German basso cantante, or bass baritone, Tobias Kehrer. Now, just like with these other singers that I saw, mostly Brück and Bouley, I've seen Tobias Kehrer in several productions, and his voice really seems to develop in terms of richness, in fullness, and in roundness. It's absolutely fantastic to see this gentleman developed his voice in such a great manner. From the 2 years I've heard him, it's amazing. He really improved since the first 2 years I've seen him. It's an absolute miracle. I really can't wait to see more of this basso. He is totally in his character, and his solo Vecca Cimara was just totally well done. And then we get to the leading ladies. Mimi was sung by a lyric soprano who I absolutely adore and I absolutely enjoy every single moment of, Martina Welschenbach. Now, I've seen this young lady sing Pamina. I think I've seen her sing Tebaldo from Don Carlo, and I've heard her name a lot of times as well. She has a very fine voice, and I even read that nowadays she's singing a lot more lyrical roles, or some roles that call for a slightly fuller voice, like Irene from Rienzi and Leo from Turandot. She was absolutely immersed in her character. She is a very lovely looking person as usual. She has a very lovely timbre. She uses her voice very well. Her stage presence is an absolute beauty. She has a very, very fine voice and very fine technique, and she's a very good actress all throughout. She really works well with Teodor Ilincai as Rodolfo. Their chemistry is actually really great, almost up there with the likes of Pavarotti and Freni as Rodolfo and Mimi, respectively. She has a very fine voice. She is a very fine actress. And when she sings her two arias, she sings them with such a fine finesse and with such agility and with such grace that it's totally hard to take my eyes off of her. It's totally hard to take my ears off of her as well. She has a beautiful lyrical quality. She has a very fine, girlish voice that makes Mimi all the more youthful and all the more sweet as a character, and all the more great to watch every time on screen. She was absolutely in her A game. Singing the role of Musetta is none other than the wonderful lyric coloratura soprano / light lyric soprano Alexandra Hutton, who I've seen in so many productions, singing this wonderful, iconic light lyric Puccini role that happens to have attracted a lot of sopranos, just like with Mimi as well. I have to say that what more can be said about Alexandra Hutton? I've seen this young lady perform in a lot of operas, and here she was at her absolute finest. She still has her sparkling and fresh and scintillating voice that really makes Musetta just wonderful, and she has fabulous acting chops. She is absolutely in her A game, singing the role of this iconic Puccinian grisette, especially with her aria Quando Men Vo, and all of her scenes involving her and all of her co-stars were just absolutely well done. Her acting is superb. She was able to make Musetta a very feisty, funny, down-to-earth young woman who at times can be quite sharp, but nonetheless she always has a heart of gold and has her heart in the right place. So both these ladies, Martina Welschenbach and Alexandra Hutton, did an absolutely fabulous job as Puccini's most iconic lyric soprano characters, Mimi and Musetta respectively. They're totally up there, well, with the likes of, let's say, Renata Tebaldi and Renata Scotto, and even the likes of Victoria de los Angeles and Lucina Mara, and many, many other sopranos who have performed Mimi and Musetta respectively. They've done very fine jobs as the leading ladies. And then we get to the supporting characters. Singing the role of the landlord Benoit is a veteran basso buffo by the name of Roland Schubert, who was very well known in his roles as Truffaldino from Ariadne auf Naxos and a lot of roles from the basso buffo repertoire. He's a very fine actor. He has a lot of great acting chops, and he's also a very fine vocal actor as well. His voice is round and rich and ebullient. It's just absolutely hard to take my ears off his voice. Singing the role of the protector of Musetta, Alcindoro, was, let's see right here. Oops. Oh yeah. Right here we have Peita Maus singing the role of Alcindoro, who is a very fine actor and has a very fine character voice as well. And in the role of Parpignol, we have Paul Kaufmann, a very fine voice with such a thankless character and very much enjoyable, especially when he wore that really colorful, very red outfit. And the much, much smaller roles were handled by Michael Adams, Thomas Lehmann, Winfried Fusi, and Camille Ahmad. Now, Camille Ahmad I think he was also a member of the children's chorus. They've done very well with their small roles. And it's absolutely no surprise that the quality of the singing found in this particular production of La Bohème was top tier. It's the gold standard. It's 5-star. I have to say that the biggest stars for me, well, they have to be the mains. Mainly Teodor Ilincai, Markus Brück, Noel Bouley, Tobias Kehrer, Martina Welschenbach, and Alexandra Hutton. Out of all the stars in this Bohème, they shone the brightest. Especially Ilincai, mostly because, well, I hate sounding like a broken record. My heart bleeds for him, and he's a very handsome guy. I just go gaga every single time he was on stage. And every single time he was with his co-stars, I just absolutely went gaga for all of them. That is just how excellent, how outstanding, how superlative, and just how magnificent these stars really were. And I just really went to see this opera in particular for these wonderful stars, and they shone the brightest. They shone like the most brilliant of stars, showing off such fine vocal techniques and just beautiful singing, wonderful acting, and really great chemistry with each other. And the conducting done by Andrea Battistoni was absolutely excellent, and the chorus equally excellent as well, especially with the extras. They all did a very great job. So overall, this is absolutely amazing. Just like what any great production of La Bohème should be. This is the gold standard of any production of La Bohème. And it's no wonder why this opera is so well loved. If you have a cast of very strong singers who can hold their own very well and can act well off of each other and can really sing the music as great as they can, then you have a ticket to a very great production of La Bohème. I highly recommend this production to anyone who hasn't seen it yet. It's still going on, so go ahead, check it out. You won't be disappointed because you are going to have such fabulous singers like Teodor Ilincai, Markus Brück, Noel Bouley, Tobias Kehrer, Martina Welschenbach, and Alexandra Hutton, who do fabulous jobs in their roles and really, really immerse themselves in their characters, giving them some of the finest characterizations that they've done, and it's absolutely worth it. It's totally worth it. Please, I am begging you, check this production of La Bohème out. You will not be disappointed, especially for these stars. You will root for them every single time they're on stage. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in later where I review Mozart's Don Giovanni, which was shown at the Staatsoper im Stadttheater. So until then, see you later, everybody.